The cat who took my wife. Imagine jokingly telling a cat sitting beside you, "If you like my wife, you can have her." Then you step away for a moment, only to return and find that your wife has vanished, as if the earth had swallowed her whole. This is the story I'm going to tell you today. But before we begin, please support us with a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's begin, in the name of God. Asim stood alone in his old house, talking to himself. "I can no longer bear the loneliness of living alone. I must find someone to share my life with, someone who will ease my solitude." And only a few days later, fate brought him a beautiful young woman, graceful, kind, and admired by everyone in the village. He married her, and for a while their life together was peaceful and full of warmth. But one day, something strange happened. A pitch-black cat suddenly appeared and began visiting their home every evening. It grew strangely attached to Asim's wife, following her wherever she went, despite her attempts to chase it away. No matter how many times she tried, the cat would not leave. It stayed close to her, like a shadow, until Asim returned home, and only then would it disappear into the darkness. Days passed, and the wife could no longer hide her fear. One night, she said to her husband anxiously, "Asim, I feel uneasy about that cat. There's something in its eyes. The way it stares at me, it fills me with fear and dread I can't explain. Every time I turn toward it, it's just sitting there, watching me, never blinking." Asim, however, didn't take her words seriously. He smiled and replied, "My dear, it's just a cat. You're letting your imagination run wild." But what happened next was far from imagination.
Asim laughed and said to his wife, "Oh, woman, don't be foolish. It's just a cat. What harm could such a weak creature possibly do to you?" Nearly 2 months passed since their wedding, and one evening, Asim and his wife were having dinner under the dim light of an old lantern, as they did every night. Suddenly, the black cat appeared again, but this time it came earlier than usual. It sat silently, staring at Asim's wife with the same unsettling gaze. Fear crept into her heart. The darkness around them, broken only by the flicker of the lantern, made everything feel colder, heavier. She tried to look away, but she could feel its eyes following her every move. Asim noticed her nervousness and, as always, tried to tease her. He turned toward the cat, then back to his wife and said jokingly, "If you like my wife so much, then take her." The words left his mouth with a laugh, but the cat's reaction froze the air. The black creature suddenly stood up, as if it had been waiting for those exact words. Asim chuckled again and said playfully, "Look, it accepted my offer. It's getting ready to take you." But his wife didn't laugh this time. Her face grew pale as the cat stood motionless, its eyes locked on her, unblinking. Even after they finished their dinner, the cat remained there, still, silent, watching her every breath. Discomfort and fear were written all over her face. Then, without warning, the cat moved. It walked slowly past Asim, brushing against his leg, and for the first time, it turned its gaze from the wife toward him. Their eyes met, and Asim felt a chill race through his body, a strange, cold shiver, as if something unseen had passed through him. At that moment, he finally understood what his wife had been feeling all along, that dreadful, suffocating fear of this creature. Trying to stay calm, Asim forced a smile and quickly changed the subject. His wife was surprised. Usually, he would make jokes to lighten the mood, but now he was quiet. too quiet. After finishing dinner, Asim stood up and walked toward the well outside to wash his hands. But when he returned, his wife was gone.
Asim searched the kitchen, calling out his wife's name, but there was no answer. He checked every room, one after another, yet she was nowhere to be found. At first, he thought she was angry with him for joking about the cat and had gone to her parents' house. So without hesitation, he rushed there. When he arrived, he asked her father if she was home, but the man shook his head, confused, and asked why his daughter would leave so suddenly. Asim explained what had happened, that it was only a joke, nothing more, but his words did not convince them. Her father and brothers began to suspect the worst. They accused Asim of harming her, perhaps even killing her and hiding her body, then pretending she had simply disappeared. They immediately went to the village elder to report her missing and share their suspicions. The elder ordered his men to arrest Asim and begin questioning him. Over and over again, Asim swore that he had done nothing wrong. He insisted that his wife had been sitting with him one moment and vanished the next. For 5 days, the villagers searched everywhere, the fields, the river, the forest, and every corner of Asim's house. They even dug around his yard, thinking he might have buried her there. But they found nothing. It was as if the earth itself had swallowed her whole. Days of interrogation passed, yet Asim never changed his story. On the 5th day, the village elder asked him to repeat in full detail what had happened that night. Asim said, "We were having dinner when the black cat appeared again, the one that often visited our home and made my wife uneasy. I wanted to tease her, so I turned to the cat and said, 'If you like my wife, take her.' Then I went to the well to wash my hands, and when I came back, she was gone." After listening carefully, the village elder leaned back and said something that froze Asim's blood. He said, "Perhaps it was not a cat at all. Maybe it was a Jinn, and when you told it to take your wife, it did." Asim stared at him in disbelief. He whispered, "How could that be? How could a Jinn take her?" The elder explained, "You said your wife was afraid of that cat, that it watched her with strange eyes. I believe, by God, that this was no ordinary animal. You gave it permission, and it took her." Asim broke down in tears, his voice shaking. "Please, tell me what to do. Bring her back to me. I didn't mean what I said. It was just a joke." The elder tried to calm him down, but Asim's heart was shattered. And from that night on, the house that once echoed with laughter became a place of silence and fear.
The village elder tried to calm Asim down, saying, "This is not certain, my son. I could be mistaken. What matters is that nothing proves you were responsible for your wife's disappearance." He then ordered Asim's release and advised him to seek help from a scholar who understood the world of the Jinn. Once free, Asim rushed to his wife's family, begging for their help. The neighbors directed them to a man who was well known in the region for his deep knowledge of spirits, a man said to communicate with the unseen. Her father, having lived a long life filled with strange tales, believed there might be truth to what Asim said. So he agreed to accompany him to meet this mysterious man, one who seemed more like a sorcerer than a scholar. When they reached his home, they asked permission to enter. Asim began to tell his sorrowful story, but before he could finish, the man interrupted him coldly. "You have no idea what you've done. You gave your wife to the Jinn yourself." Asim's eyes widened in disbelief. "How could I give her to them? I swear I never meant it. I didn't even think that cat was one of them." The man smirked and replied mockingly, "Then go to the Jinn and ask them why they took her. You humans joke about things you do not understand and only regret it when it's too late." Desperate, Asim pleaded, "Please, bring her back. I'll do anything you ask." But the sorcerer's tone was cold and final. "This is beyond my power. What belongs to the Jinn never returns. You gave them what they desired, willingly. Your wife now belongs to their world. Word of Asim's tragedy spread throughout the region. Soon, everyone had heard about the man whose wife was taken by the Jinn. But for Asim and his neighbors, the nightmare was far from over. Every night after midnight, they began hearing her voice, crying, calling his name from inside the empty house. Asim! Asim! The voice was so clear that it made their blood run cold. Each night, Asim would run outside, weeping and shouting her name into the darkness. But he never saw her, only heard her sorrowful cries echoing through the night. Her weeping became a haunting reality, something that Asim and everyone around him heard night after night. Until one day, news of his suffering reached a distant village. An old man, a respected scholar known for his wisdom and knowledge of the unseen, decided to visit the village.
The old scholar had come to the village specifically to find Asim. When he finally met him, he asked, "Your wife's name is Fulana, correct?" Asim nodded, yes. The scholar looked at him with calm certainty and said, "She is still inside your home. The voice you hear every night is truly hers, but the Jinn have taken her and placed a veil between you and her, the same kind of veil that hides them from our sight. If you wish to bring her back, I can guide you to the tribe of Jinn that the black cat belonged to. I will also give you the sacred words that will open their city to you. But remember, you have two possible outcomes. Either you succeed and bring your wife back, or you break their sacred rules, and your fate will be death." Without hesitation, Asim replied, "I caused my wife suffering. I will do whatever it takes to bring her back, even if it costs me my life." The scholar nodded gravely. "Then listen carefully. Do exactly as I say, and if it is God's will, you will see your wife again." He handed Asim a folded paper with 3 strange words written on it, then said, "I will show you the place. When you arrive there, read the 3 words. Read them aloud the first time, softly the second, and silently in your heart the third. As you begin, terrifying things will appear to stop you. Do not believe what you see or hear. Do not turn your head, not to the right, nor to the left, nor behind you, no matter how close the danger feels. Keep your eyes fixed on Mount al-Jahim. Your time will be on Monday, just before sunset. When you hear the call to prayer for Maghrib, stand firm facing the mountain. After the call ends, take out the paper and recite the words exactly as I told you. If you succeed, you will enter the city of the Jinn. Their king will appear before you. Keep your eyes fixed on him and never give up your right to reclaim your wife. May God guide and protect you both." Asim waited anxiously for the appointed day, fear gnawing at his heart. But his guilt and his love for his wife gave him strength. When the day came, he set out toward Mount al-Jahim. As the sun began to set and the Maghrib call to prayer echoed from a nearby mosque, Asim stood still before the mountain, his heart pounding in terror. When the prayer ended, he unfolded the paper and read the words for the first time, loudly. Before he could begin the second recitation, he suddenly heard the sound of galloping horses racing towards him from behind, so close he could almost feel the ground shake beneath him. He nearly turned to look, but remembered the scholar's warning. So he stood firm and recited the words a second time, this time softly. Instantly, the sound of hooves vanished. In its place, a horrific creature appeared before him, massive and monstrous, with burning eyes full of hatred. It glared at him as if ready to tear him apart. His body trembled, but he stayed still, remembering the scholar's advice. Then, he whispered the words a third time, silently, in his heart, and closed his eyes. When he opened them, he found himself standing in a strange underground city. A deep voice echoed around him. "Step forward. The king awaits."
Asim walked forward until he saw a towering figure before him, an ancient man, tall and ghostly pale, with long white hair and a beard that nearly touched the ground. Though he looked human, there was something otherworldly about him, a chilling presence that froze the air. He heard faint whispers all around him, voices that spoke in languages unknown, but he did not turn his head nor utter a single word, just as the scholar had warned.
Asim fixed his eyes on the king of the Jinn, just as the scholar had instructed him. The king asked in a deep, echoing voice, "What brings you here, human?" Asim answered firmly, "I came for my wife, the one who was taken by a Jinn from your tribe. I want her back." The king was silent for a moment, then commanded loudly, "Bring his wife to me." Suddenly, Asim heard his wife crying somewhere nearby. His heart nearly broke, and he almost turned toward her, but he held himself still. Then a voice replied from the shadows, "She was given to me. He himself said I could take her. He cannot deny it." Asim shouted, his voice trembling with anger. "You entered my home without permission. You watched my wife without right, and you deceived me. I thought you were just a cat." The king of the Jinn turned his gaze towards Asim and said, "But you told him, 'If you like my wife, take her.'" Asim stood tall and answered with the strength he never knew he had. "He entered my house in the form of a cat. How could I have known he was one of the Jinn? The fault is his, not mine. We humans never enter your world uninvited, nor do we spy on you. So tell me, why did he follow my wife even before we were married?" The king ordered the Jinn to speak. The dark voice replied, "I loved her long before she married her. I used to watch her in her father's house, singing before her mirror." Asim retorted sharply, "Then why didn't you take her back then? Why come to my house to take her after she became my wife?" The Jinn fell silent, unable to respond. Then the king declared his judgment. "Return the woman to her husband at once. And from this moment you are forbidden to ever approach the homes of humans again." The king turned to Asim and said, "Return to your home. You will find your wife there. But remember, if you continue to live in that same house, any child born to you will be stillborn. If that happens, you have no one to blame but yourself." Asim asked in fear, "And if we leave that house, will our children live?" The king nodded, "Yes." Then darkness swallowed everything around him. When it cleared, Asim found himself standing at the foot of the mountain, not knowing how he got there. He rushed back home through the darkness, and when he entered the house, he froze. There she was, standing before him. At first, he thought she might be an illusion. He whispered, "My wife?" She smiled softly. "Yes, my dear husband. Where were you? I've been waiting for you since sunset. What kept you so long?" It was as if her memory had been wiped clean. She remembered nothing of what had happened to her. That very night, Asim packed their belongings. He took his wife by the hand and left the house, never to return. They stayed with her family for a few days until they found a small home of their own. From that day on, their old house remained abandoned. No one dared to enter or even approach it. Neighbors claimed to hear crying and wailing coming from inside, the sorrowful voice of the Jinn mourning what he had lost. They even saw the black cat again, sitting by the window after midnight, its glowing eyes fixed on the empty rooms inside. Sometimes strange lights flickered within, as if unseen beings still lived there. Fear spread through the village, and soon the neighbors built tall walls separating their homes from the cursed house of Asim. As for Asim, he never joked with his wife again. He thanked God for giving him back his beloved, and soon they were blessed with sons and daughters, living a peaceful life, far from that haunted place and from that cursed black cat. And so our story ends. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story, where mystery and lessons of life always meet.